Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Republicans over the last several months have been working on a strategy to bring more American production and to work on our all-above energy plan. And today we've taken that plan and rolled it into a bill, the American Energy Act. And what this bill does is promotes conservation, it promotes alternative fuels, and yes, it also promotes more American-made energy. This is what the American people are demanding of this Congress, and the only thing that stands in the way of this bill passing is Nancy Pelosi and her Democrat colleagues. Our colleagues on the Republican side do not want to go home for the August recess without this bill passing. This is a comprehensive bill that will help lower energy prices in America and help us take the first big step toward energy independence. I'm proud of the work that my colleagues have done. We're going to demand that this bill be brought up for a vote. What does Nancy Pelosi have to fear in allowing the House to vote? We're sent here by the American people to cast votes on all kinds of things. And we've been casting votes on a lot of silly bills over the last several months when we could have been voting on more American-made energy. And so the American Energy Act is a bill that we want to be on the floor of the House before the August recess, and let's let members of Congress vote up or down on whether they think we ought to have more American-made energy.
Okay. Actually, when I see these signs out here, it's like when we were in the majority and the Republican House repeatedly sent the kind of legislation to the Senate that the country would like to see today. And all those people who stood in the way of nuclear, who stood in the way of drilling in the deep water like every other country that has that potential in the world does today, many of those people have now changed sides. If we'd send those same bills to the Senate today, I don't think a minority of the Senate would be able to block them any longer, in spite of the Senate rules. That's why this plan, and I see some of these signs that say find more, use less, we're actually for that. We're for finding more, and we're for conservation and efficiency, and we're investing in the future. We're for what it takes to do the right thing with our own resources for our own economy, and one of the leaders in that for a long time has been the former chairman, now the leading Republican on the Energy and Commerce Committee, Joe Barton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 3 years ago, almost to this day, I was chairman of the conference committee between the House and the Senate for what we now call the Energy Policy Act of 2005. We were in the last throes of putting together a comprehensive energy package to vote on both the House and the Senate floor to send to the President. We did do that. The President signed it, and it became law. In that bill, though, we didn't have drilling in Alaska. We didn't have drilling in the OCS because 3 years ago, we didn't quite have the political and popular support that we have today. But today, with poll after poll showing that the American public is tired of paying $4 for gasoline and $5 for diesel, the public opinion has changed. And so last week, I sent this letter to the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi of California, signed by 70 of my colleagues, most of whom are standing behind me, saying, Madam Speaker, let us have an up or down vote before we go home for August. Let's show the American people where we really stand. If we get that vote on the bill that Leader Boehner has just introduced today and that most of us, if not all of us, have co-sponsored, my prediction is it'll get 300 votes. It only takes 218. So the question is, Madam Speaker, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid the American people might actually like us to develop more American energy for Americans' families and America's factories? Are you afraid that if you show that your insistence on not allowing these votes is shown for what it is to be, a pure political ploy, that your political popularity may plummet even further? Let us have the vote, Madam Speaker. Let us bring the American Energy Act to the floor of the House of Representatives before we go home in August and show the American people what we really stand for.
Congressman Jeb Hensarling, Chairman of the Republican Study Committee. I want to share with you a letter that I have received recently from the Forrest family of Mesquite, Texas, talking about the challenges in their small business because of the high cost of energy. We're not making a profit. We can't continue to operate this way. We've now canceled our life insurance policies, canceled our cable, scaled down our automobile insurance, and only buy the necessities at the grocery store. No movies, no luxuries. My son and his daughter have had to move in with us because he can no longer pay rent, daycare, buy food, and pay for his auto insurance and gas to go to work. When will something be done? Well, maybe Speaker Pelosi doesn't feel the pain in the salons of San Francisco, but they feel the pain in the small businesses and the families of Mesquite, Texas. The Republican Party is dedicated to doing something about it. Not just conservation, we want conservation. Not just renewables, we want renewables. Not just alternatives like coal to liquids and oil shale, we want that. But we want to also produce energy in America for Americans now and drive down the cost of gasoline.
I'm John Chimkus. I represent Southern Illinois, 30 rural counties. No is not an energy policy. Jeb talked about people hurting. I will tell you that high energy costs exponentially hurt the poor and the middle class rural Americans harder than anyone else. They drive long distances to get to school. They drive long distances to get access to health care. They drive long distances to go to work. They don't have public transit. They can't afford the new cars. They buy secondhand cars. So we are right on the populist people issue of our time, which is having an energy policy that is American energy and American jobs. Because no, which is what we've seen in this Congress, no is not an energy policy. All it does is help rise the cost for middle-class Americans up and up and up. And what we need is an all-the-above strategy that talks about bringing on more supply, doing some more conservation, doing more renewables, and the all-the-above strategy is what we're offering today, and which will help bring us to energy independence, decreasing our reliance on imported crude oil from places in the world that would wish us harm.
I'm Mary Fallon. I'm from Oklahoma, an oil and gas producing state and renewable energy producing state, and we're very proud of it. I just had the opportunity to return from the All-American Energy Tour, and I want to tell you what we saw. We saw that we can produce American-made energy in an environmentally friendly way, working with wildlife, with conservation, and drilling for oil. We can do that in America. We also went to visit the Renewable Energy Laboratory. We saw how technology is bringing forth wind, solar, biodiesel fuels, all the above energy that can be used in America. Those things are all possible for us. And it goes to prove that America can produce its own energy. America can do it now, and it's what Americans deserve. And we're going to give it to them. Gasoline prices are hurting our American families. It's hurting our businesses. It's hurting our economy. Winter is expected to bring upon even higher home fuel heating costs. It's time for Congress to act now to help our public, to help our consumers, our businesses, and this Congress is obligated to bring relief to the rising fuel costs that are hitting our nation. And we want to call upon Nancy Pelosi to let our energy flow now.
Well, thank you. Devin Nunes from California. I'm really proud to be standing here as a Republican today because we have put our plan into writing. We have a plan in writing. The Democrats need to put their plan in writing. We're going to stay here and demand a vote. This does something very important. This drills here, we drill now, and we invest all the revenue into the next generation of American energy. So when folks want solar, wind, nuclear power, the next generation of power, this bill does that. The Republicans have a plan, the Democrats need a plan, and we're going to stay here and demand a vote on this bill until we provide more American-made energy for the American people. Thank you.
Let me just say thanks to all of you. It's starting to rain, but just remember this: we've worked hard to put this bill together. We have a plan. The Congress of the United States ought to be voting on this plan. And let members vote yes or no. But to not have a vote and to avoid a vote is not the answer. Give the American people what they demand: a vote on more American-made energy. Thank you.